All right, it's time. Welcome to the best Rotary Club in the universe. There we go. Let's see. I got drafted at the last minute to run the show today. We'll see how things work out. Thanks for Team March for putting things together, and thank you for being here. It's a great turnout today. We're going to start off today with our invocation. Charlie Bush.
Hi. I'm Kate Howland Vinogradova, and this is my daughter Anna. We're doing the invocation today. As we gather here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
All right, now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Rich, are you leading us?
I'm in charge.
All right.
Now, last week we sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and there was a reason for that, because you'll find out later today, and we're going to sing it again, but you should listen closely, and Charlie will explain that later. But again, take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so it's root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. All right, thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. All right, we're going to go with visiting Rotarians and guests of Rotarians first. Our first guest, we have Anna over here today. Anna, can you put your hand up and give us a wave? There we go. And our speaker today has brought an attorney with him today. So we have Haley here.
Haley Seamans works at my office.
And our other guest, a fellow Rotarian, we have Stephanie Hooper, Assistant Governor, and is going to just say a couple of words there. Charlie, if we can get Stephanie the mic for about district conference coming up.
All right, I'm sure you have heard about the conference, but I'm here to remind you about it. You can register on District 5050 site. So all you have to do is Google District 5050 for Rotary, and you can click on it and get right there under events. It is May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's a little bit different this year. It is in Mount Vernon, and you can register for 3 different things. The first thing on Friday, you can register for the bowling. And you can register, actually 4 things, or you can register for the cocktail hour at Max Dale's that evening. And then all day Saturday is the conference, and it is at the Mount Vernon High School. And it's family focused, so the Children's Museum will be there to keep your children or grandchildren or whatever child you might want to bring with you entertained while you attend the conference. And then on Sunday is a work party at Camp Corey, and there you can register that you're going to be there, and then you can pay $10 if you want a box lunch. So anyway, be sure and go there, because there's lots of options, and it's a good way to support our district governor from our area, David Lukov. Hope to see you there.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Do we have any other guests? I mean, besides Chief McElwraith, who came in today, any other guests? I couldn't help it. I hadn't seen him for a long time. Okay, into club business. The auction is 8 weeks away, and we're in the middle of collecting auction items. Turn in your silent items. And here in just a few moments, Travis is going to get up and talk a little bit about the auction. Becky, where are you at? Other Becky? There she is. We have 2. Becky is still working hard to procure live items. Thank you very much for everything you're doing and how much pain and suffering you're going through. You're doing that. There is an auction meeting today on Zoom. Ruth is out sick today, so it's questionable if it's going to be a go, but was it 4:30 was on Zoom? If you take a look and see if that's going to be a go, we're not sure yet. District Assembly is going to be April 6th at Kwantlen Polytechnic University in Surrey, BC. We have 5 members registered to attend, and somehow I got drafted to drive. So anybody that rides along is going to be riding my daughter's minivan. So there might be crusty, dried up French fries or gone over Capri Sun somewhere in the back. There's tiny humans that occupy that space as well. We have a Rotary work party and service opportunities are in the pipeline, including a gardening with the farm to school program through United General Hospital, as well as work surrounding the construction of picnic shelters and landscaping at Memorial Park right out here. Christine is meeting with Nate Salsina and Dan Hockett this afternoon to start the projects and hope of it being completed by mid-June. Stay tuned. So we're going to start off announcements. Jeff McCann, would you like to step up to the mic? Oh, there we go.
All right, I got the scholarship applications in my email, so I'm going to be dividing those up and sending them out to the committee. So if you're on the committee, please keep an eye out. I'm going to try to work on it this weekend if I can manage to stay out, if I can manage to get inside and to my laptop. But anyway, if you don't know if you're on the committee, it's in the book. Anyway, so look for that.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Travis Heisman, there we go. We need mic to Travis.
Hello, everyone. Silent auction items. So just a reminder, 3 auction items from each Rotarian. So that's always kind of been the rule. So we do ask that you donate 3 items or solicit some of those items. So used to be we would all go out and kind of blanket the community and ask for donations. So that's still the game. Local businesses, organizations, whoever you can come up with for auction items. The silent item at our auction is really good, as you guys know, and the quality items is really important. So get out there and get those in. Of course, most of you aren't going to do it until at least 3 or 4 weeks from now, but the sooner the better. It makes it so much easier on Danny and her team. Also, when you're filling these items out, just a reminder, I should have Rick do this because Rick is really good at this. Okay, you give the pink to the donor, the yellow and white goes with the item, and please attach it to the item well, otherwise it can get separated in storage and then it becomes really difficult to know the description and match it up. And make sure you deliver the yellow and white with the item to Stiles and Lear's office, and Sherry is there and she will get things logged in. Big thank you to Sherry. Tim and I like to take all the credit, but Sherry and Danny do all the work. So every year that's how it seems to work out. But anyway, I'm not going to be here for the next few weeks. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But if you guys have questions in the meantime, Tim and Danny can help you out. Carl.
All right. Do we have any more announcements from the floor? Anybody else? Oh, Mark.
Well, it's Paul Harris time. So those of you in our club that don't know who Paul Harris is, he's the founder of Rotary. And we do Paul Harris recognition awards every year, usually at our installation banquet, which is here on the 28th of June. But we need to have nominations, and we do nominations from the community. I've already received one from the community, but we also do club nominations, and those people in our club that have been here for a while and put service above self. So if you have nominations, write up a blurb, a little blurb on them on why they should be a Paul Harris Award recipient. And if you want to know who already received them, they're in the back of our booklet. If I'm not here, if you want to give them to anybody that's on our committee, that's David Bricka, Charlie Bush, Chris Johnston, Teague Martin, Mike Boser, and Becky LD. So think of those people you like to recognize and let somebody on the committee know. And we'll close nominations on April 11th. So you got about a month to get those nominations in. Thanks.
Okay, and to confess something, Mark told me before the meeting that he had an announcement, and there was a disconnect between the 15 minutes since he told me till I asked for any more announcements. Sorry, Mark. Danny?
Just to continue on with auction stuff, please get your items in, as Travis said, but also please buy your tickets and your tables. We haven't sold very many tickets and tables at this point in time, and the more information I can have up front, the more helpful it is for me. So buy your tickets. If you need help doing so, call me, email, text me. I can do it for you. So just get a hold of me.
All right, anybody else? All right, hearing none. Carrie, you're up with your Students of the Month.
Thank you so much, Lynn. What an honor it is to be here this afternoon to celebrate two excellent seniors who are going to pave the way in their future goals. I just want to share with you what a treat it is to be around these two individuals. They are kind, compassionate, caring. They give their very best, and they are exemplary students. And so I am just excited to share with you where they're headed and what they've done so far at Sedro Woolley High School. The first student that I'd like to introduce to you is Miss Kylie Evans. She is the daughter of Farabee Ryan and Stephen Evans of Sedro Woolley. Kylie maintains a 3.98 GPA while being incredibly involved at our high school. She is a member of our incredible band, as many of you know, lettering all 4 years, and she's currently our drum major. She has participated in 4 years of soccer, lettering all 4 of those years, as well as lettering in golf. Kylie is a member of our jazz band, vice president and composting manager of Earth Club, and Danny Russell and Eric Johnson get to know her very well, as she is also our school board representative. Outside of school, Kylie enjoys spending time with her friends and family, exploring the Pacific Northwest with hiking adventures, and playing the saxophone, flute, and piccolo. She also volunteers with the Skagit Trailblazers group and our Skagit Valley Humane Society. Kylie is currently working for Industrial Resources Incorporated, which is a welding apprenticeship. So I'd like to have Kylie share with her who's here today and also what she plans to do after graduation.
Hello. Here with me, I have my mom, Farabee or PJ, and Stephen or Dean. And after and after high school, I plan to become a lineman, so in the electrical work, and then after that, to get my teaching certificate.
I am also honored to introduce our next student of the month. Hayden Perry is the son of Cindy and Mike Perry of Sedro Woolley. Hayden maintains a 3.98 GPA. I didn't know you guys had the same GPA. That's pretty special. While being also very active in our high school. He has participated in football all 4 years, lettering those years, was team captain for his senior year. Hayden has also participated in basketball for 3 years, earned Student of the Month award was a recipient of the Defensive Award for the basketball team. He has earned honor roll all 4 years, as well as being a Student of the Month for engineering and woodworking. Hayden is a recipient of this past December 2023 Seroptimus International CTE Student of the Month Award. And I got to honor him last week, and it was very special meeting your grandma. Outside of school, Hayden enjoys spending time with his friends and family, hunting and fishing. He is currently working at Low Auto Sales as a lot boy and has been gaining valuable knowledge in this field for 2 years. Previously, Hayden has done many landscaping and home improvement jobs. Hayden is very humble, so he doesn't like to showcase all his talents, but he is one of the most humble young gentlemen on our campus, and I'm so very proud. So at this time, I'd like to have Hayden come and share who's with him here today and where he's headed after graduation.
Hi, I brought my mom Cindy here today, and then my dad Mike, and I planned on attending Northwest Lyman College in Idaho.
We just appreciate this time. Thank you so much, Sedro Woolley Rotary. Thank you, Lynn.
Always great to see more outstanding students coming from the school district here. So next up, we are ready for a raffle. Sam, we ready?
All right, the first numbers. We've got 63. Rosé season. All right. Next number is 64. 64. President pays $10.
So what was that?
The president pays $10. I
How
don't know.
much?
You might have to send Christine an email.
Got it.
Next number is 45. Nice. Guys or gals, winner chooses which group will pay $2 each. Gals,
Oh.
we're paying $2 a piece. Is this the last one? Yeah. Last number we got is 7. Lucky number 7. Nice. Nick.
You said it was lucky.
Winner pays $2.
That's it? Good to go. All right. I was hoping for no more spins of the wheel. All right, Charlie, you up? You ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
All right, Sergeant at Arms time. So take me out to the ball game trivia today, essentially. So we're gonna have a good time with this. So for this table here, what year was Take Me Out to the Ball Game written? A long time ago is accurate. You got it right on. That's impressive. 1908. Okay, who wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game? There are 2 people. So, reaching for wallets. $2. It is Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer. Von Tilzer set it to music, Norworth wrote it. Okay, over here, how old was Jack Norworth when he wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game? So he was 29. $2. We're going to give new meaning to this song though. So next time we sing it, everybody will know a little more about it. All right. So How many games had Norworth actually attended? Professional baseball games when he wrote "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Zero. $2, please. All right, Cracker Jacks, famously featured in the song. What year were Cracker Jacks introduced? Not bad, 1893. All right, $2. All right, coming up here to this table for the few Rotarians we have up here. I'll let you go. Yeah. Actually, we can combine the tables. Let's do that. Okay. So where was the song written? He famously wrote the song quite quickly. One of those just moments of consciousness. Yeah, where was it written? So it could be a town, could be a on something else. Yeah. All right, you're out of time. It was on a subway. And a little more context, it was after seeing a sign that read baseball today / polo grounds. Apparently he was going by and saw a sign, got inspired and wrote it on a napkin. All right, for the folks online, can't let them go.
Are you guys listening up?
Who is the song about? Who is the song "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" about?
Yep, Christina Trader says
Okay.
a kid.
Okay, that's the guess out there. The song's actually about Katie Casey, and this was per Jack Norworth in an interview done with him when he was in his 70s. He said Katie Casey, somebody I think he had an interest in, was requesting that her beau take her to a ball game rather than a show. All right, so $2 for the folks online on Venmo, and I think we're good on that. We can go to Happy Bucks.
Do we have Happy Bucks?
Yep. Start here, just systematic.
I have 20 Happy Bucks that I'm gonna Venmo to the club. We've been gone for 2 months to Arizona. It's been great to be back. And on the way back, we got to see Beth Modden, have lunch with her. She said hello to everybody. She misses all of you.
I got a happy couple, survival bucks. So as you know, some of you who were here before, I bought the rodent blaster. And it's a device that uses propane and oxygen to blow up molehills. And it works really good. I'm really, really stoked about this thing. And the longer you push the button, the more gas goes in and the bigger the boom. It's literally like a 30-06 going off if you get it just right. And I hit one hole going this way, and I was putting the gas in the other way, and I noticed that I'm standing right here, and I noticed there was a little fire that was like burning the moss. And I thought, I wonder if I should be standing right here when it's going on. And it just went, and it was right here. So it was really potentially scary as heck that it blew right at my feet, but it did. And I'm happy to say it didn't cause any injury. So, I was thinking maybe we could make this an auction item. I don't know. It's proven safe.
And Carl, before you say anything else, we do have a representative from Homeland Security here. Might be wise to Dan doesn't care. You're out in the county, I'm sure. So, Chris.
Carl, I can help you. I got a remote control. You can stand like a mile away and shoot it. I got a happy 5. I attended the Rotary learning last weekend, and I got a lot out of it. Maybe next time we'll have more representatives from our club there with me. So.
I have a happy 20. I survived 10 days in Antarctica here a week ago. and did the infamous polar plunge into 28-degree water in Antarctica. And so it was a humbling experience. I'll put it that way. I won't go any further than that. But the other thing is my granddaughter in New Orleans. It's her 4th birthday today. So happy birthday to Virginia. So.
I got some happy bucks. A year and a half ago, we signed up for Africa and we leave next Tuesday. So very excited.
Hey, happy 20 for a great trip to the Bay Area to visit my older son and family. And he's now a lymphoma specialist at Stanford Hospitals. And even better than that, our daughter-in-law, who'd been traveling from Stanford up through San Francisco across the Bay Bridge to a private school to teach in Marin Academy, now got a job 2 miles from home, so she eliminates 90 miles worth of commuting per day and is really, really happy.
So happy 20. I too have been away for 2 months, but not to Arizona, to the lovely city of Olympia. And I think I did some good work down there. We brought back $4.5 million more for the behavioral health center that had a $4.5 million shortfall. So we should be on our way to finishing that up.
I have 5. I'm going to Arizona. I'm flying out this evening to spring training. The weather report is that it'll be in the low 60s in Arizona while it's 70 something up here.
I have a happy 40. I Venmo'd to the club already. And I just want to congratulate again Hayden and Kylie for the excellent work. Also, another part of that 40 is just celebration of our CTE programming at the high school, because you are shining examples of what having the right classes and opportunities. So we're just grateful for the district and the support of our CTE program. So well done. Great job.
Back to you, Lynn.
And I've got my $10 fine. Thank you very much for the spin the wheel. And the other 10 is for a good report to Christine or Ruth that I did a good job, whether I do or not. You need to tell her I did a great job. It was $10 for the club. It is time now for early leavers. However, we have a speaker today from Homeland Security who's going to talk about whatever it is that they do. And I'll introduce him here as soon as we get our early leavers ready to go. Excellent. Doesn't look like hardly anybody's leaving. We won't. Of course, I did see him taking notes when Carl was talking, but that's the same kind of crap that I always got as a cop. Oh, the cops are here. Watch what you're doing. I'm sure you get this all the time. Our speaker today is Justin Seamans. And he is a special agent with Homeland Security. Originally from Oak Harbor, earned a BA degree from Eastern Washington University, competed on the cross-country, track, and field team, and later an MA from Gonzaga. Served 5 years as an aviation intelligence officer in the Navy, assigned to an EA-6B squadron attached to the USS Eisenhower. I started with Homeland Security in 2009, investigating financial crimes, narcotics trafficking, child exploitation crimes. Haley and Justin have 2 children, Grant 7 and Charlotte 9, and Haley, who is a Skagit County prosecutor. He'll be covering the history of HSI and its current organization and providing case examples with local connections. So please welcome our speaker today, Justin Seamans.
All right. Sorry for the apologies for the casual dress code this morning. I just got back from a 3rd grade field trip. They released some salmon in the stream over there at the Northern State Rec area. So don't worry, your salmon problems are solved. The third graders at Bayview have taken care of it. So, all right, how long? About 30 minutes? What? 1:15? 20? Okay. All right. Depends how fast I talk. Okay. Like the intro said, I'm a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations, or the investigative branch of the Department of Homeland Security. Today, I'm going to speak a little bit about our history, the current organization of the agency, and give a few case examples here in the local area. Okay, first a timeline. So Homeland Security, although a relatively new agency, has its roots almost to the founding of the country. So you can see here in 1789, the U.S. Customs Service was established. Shortly thereafter, the Treasury Secretary, who is a long-lost relative of my wife, Haley Wolcott, created our first customs ensign, which we actually still fly in our office because we just can't let go of it. In 1879, the special agent position was created, so that would be essentially the lineage of my current occupation. 1933, the Immigration and Naturalization Service was established. So before 9/11, if you went through an airport, you'd be encountered by a customs inspector or customs officer who'd inspect your luggage, ask you these various customs questions, and then you'd speak with an immigration inspector, ask you about your immigration questions, what country you're coming from, et cetera, et cetera. So you had the two inspectors at like an airport or a port of entry. So 9/11 changed everything. After 9/11, it was the biggest government reorganization since World War II. So you had the Department of Homeland Security was essentially created. The act passed in November 25, 2002. Let me see if I can read that. Okay. And shortly thereafter, DHS begins operations. And so at the very end, at the very bottom, you can see ICE is created. It's Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So that was the merger of the Immigration and Naturalization Service and the U.S. Customs Service. So they had special agents in both agencies. They combined them both into ICE. And the inspectors you see at the airports or the ports of entry became Customs and Border Protection, the CBP officers that you see when they open your trunk of your car or go through your bag at the airport. Is that clear as mud? Perfect. Okay. Here's a pretty important distinction because ICE can be fairly toxic in the media. So Immigration and Customs Enforcement, part of Homeland Security, actually has a couple different components. The first is enforcement and removal officers. Those are ICE officers. Their badge says ICE. Those are the fellas that will go out and do interior immigration enforcement. So those aren't the Border Patrol officers, but those are officers that'll be in the interior of the United States, capturing illegal immigrants that have committed crimes or otherwise shouldn't be in the United States. And so their sole role is immigration enforcement. On the other side of the coin, the C in ICE, which everyone always forgets, the customs portion, is actually covered by Homeland Security Investigations, and that is us. So our badge doesn't even say ICE. The only way we're typically even affiliated with ICE is that's where we get our budget from. We're almost our own agency at this point. So Homeland Security Investigations special agents are the investigative arm of Homeland Security. Now, Homeland Security, think of it as a big umbrella. Multiple agencies are under it after the reorganization after 9/11. That's what that is. That abomination up on the screen there is Homeland Security. So you have the umbrella agency, Homeland Security, and you can see here, you have us here in Homeland Security Investigations. We're the primary investigative arm. Here, I mentioned earlier, we have CBP, Customs and Border Protection, and inspectors at the airports. We have some other agencies in here as well. You have the TSA, of course, you see them at the airport every time you go through. You have the Coast Guard, you have FEMA, you have the Secret Service. And because we're all part of the same agency, essentially, we, as special agents, will help the Secret Service, for example, during every election cycle. If there's a big event like the RNC or the DNC or even the United Nations General Assembly, we'll go and augment the Secret Service. So right now we're starting to do that with the election season starting. So if you're at a big political event, the chances are it's 50-50 whether or not that guy standing there at the radio is either going to be an HSI agent or a Secret Service agent. So again, like when we fly on the aircraft, if I'm flying in an aircraft, I'll all of a sudden become an air marshal for example, because they're part of Homeland Security as well. So, but again, I said, we are the primary investigative agency. So we have all those old US Customs statutes they investigate now belong to HSI. Okay, so a few things I want to highlight on the screen are underlined. So like I've mentioned numerous times, we're the primary investigative arm of Homeland Security. We have approximately 6,800 special agents assigned to numerous field offices around the country. And we have DHS's largest international presence abroad as well. We have agents in every embassy across the country or across the world. We also have about 3,700 task force officers in our various offices. So that'd be like a state and local officer, whether it's a sheriff's deputy or a local police officer, that'll come and work with us as well. Okay, so a few of the statutes we investigate. We actually investigate more statutes than any other federal agency in the country. That includes the FBI, which makes them a little nervous because we're consistently growing. But these are just a few of the examples of the crimes that we investigate. Obviously, narcotics, smuggling, money laundering, child exploitation, transnational gangs. We're much more of a focused agency on international crime, so things that cross our border. I'm not going to read every item to you, but I just want to highlight a few things. Up here, closer to the border, our office, local office, is located in Ferndale. So we have a memorandum of understanding with Customs and Border Protection. So up at the port of entry, we have Point Roberts, we have 2 crossings in Blaine, 1 in Linden and 1 in Sumas. So that's 5 ports of entry. So if the customs inspectors up there encounter something like a person with a warrant, a large seizure, so like a car full of cocaine or fentanyl, methamphetamine, anything, they'll call us, we'll go up there and investigate it, and then further the investigation, if that makes sense. So we each have like a duty day once a month, every agent. So when I'm on duty once a month, I'm on call 24 hours, and we'll go up there and I'm responsible for 5 ports of entry. So it can be either pretty taxing or it can be very quiet. It really depends on the day. You never know what's going to happen. And we all attend a 6-month academy after we're hired down near Savannah, Georgia, about an hour south of Savannah, Georgia, where we get training in firearms, et cetera, and all the applicable laws that cover all of our statutes we enforce. So it's a fairly lengthy academy just because our agency does cover quite a bit. If you're in a larger office, for example, I started in our Seattle office, you're regimented more or less in a group. So there might be a financial group, which I was assigned to, for example, or there might be a child exploitation group. But if you're in a smaller office, for example, we have 3 people that work in Wenatchee. Whatever comes across their desk, they're going to work. So you could work a child exploitation case one day, and then you could work a narcotic smuggling case the next day. So it's really diverse. The quality of life and the work, I think, my personal opinion, I enjoy it much more than, say, what DEA agent would work, because they're working narcotics for 30 years, right? Whereas if I get tired of doing child exploitation, I could go work narcotic smuggling or financial crimes again. One of the more unique statutes we enforce is going to be cultural property, art, and antiquity smuggling, right? So we're talking about artwork and other antiquities that have a very vague provenance, meaning their origin is unknown. Does the person that is possessing it, do they have a legal right to possess it? We'll encounter that a lot with big shipping containers that are coming to our ports of entry, people crossing the ports of entry. This is a bigger deal like in our New York office with a lot of museums there may have questionable art they've obtained from questionable people. It's actually really fun to work because obviously we're not experts on every antiquity or piece of art out there. So you have to call the experts. So you call professors at the University of Washington or anywhere in the country that there's an expert in the specific field. And I can tell you right now, those guys that we call, they're not the most popular people at the party. Like if have devoted your life to like 16th century Incan coins, no one really talks to you at a party. So when you call them and you want to talk about that, you're their new best friend. And you will not get off the phone. I still get phone calls from a guy talking about elephant tusks or mammoth tusks that I talked to 8 years ago. He just wants to call and talk. So And intellectual property, we're talking primarily about health and human safety, fake airbags, things of that nature. We really don't go into like fake NFL jerseys, anything like that. And one thing to mention too, our badge obviously has been changed since 9/11. It used to be, U.S. Customs Special Agent badge. Now it's a Homeland Security Investigations badge. But it's literally emblematic of 9/11. On the bottom, you'll have a field of 11 stars, and then you'll have 9 rays of light coming off the DHS seal. And this is fairly typical of how other federal agencies are organized as well. So FBI, ATF, DEA, they're all kind of broken up into regions. Obviously, our mothership is in DC. I've never been there. I never want to go to our headquarters. I'm perfectly content being here. But you can see here in our region, our agent in charge is located in Seattle. And our region covers Alaska, Oregon, Idaho, and Washington, with obviously smaller sub-offices located throughout. Boise, for example, we have one in Spokane, a couple guys in Wenatchee. Our office here in Ferndale, we have about 30 special agents and a variety of support staff, including like criminal analysts and administrative staff as well. I just noticed myself on that camera. It's making me nervous. I have no idea. Okay. All right. Internationally, we have offices in almost every embassy around the world. And typically what they do is if we have a need or we're helping a local police department investigate something that has an international nexus, we'll reach out to our agents in those embassies and they will work with our international law enforcement partners to get the information we need. For example, just recently, there's a local department that may need to contact a victim in Australia. So we'll call our agents in Canberra, Australia. They'll work with the Australian Federal Police and we'll get that victim interviewed. Or if we need some paperwork, maybe some documentation from a suspect from the Philippines, for example, we'll go and speak with our agents there in the embassy. So obviously some posts are better than others. You have Vienna, Paris, but they also have Dakar, Senegal, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, which is a great spot right now. So I don't have enough juice to get anywhere nice. I'd probably wind up in Haiti myself if I wanted to go international. So like I said, I'm perfectly happy here. In terms of our local support, we do try to support our local partners, state and local, as much as we can. We have a full-time special agent with the Skidoo Task Force. That's the Skagit County Interlocal Drug Enforcement Unit. They're a really aggressive drug enforcement unit here in Skagit County. We have one full-time agent with them. So if there is something perhaps that may rise to a federal crime or any kind of support we can give them, we offer all of the services we can provide. And that ties in quite nicely with computer forensics, because a lot of that, when you're investigating narcotics crimes, is going to be like cell phone intensive, where you need to exploit a suspect's cell phone. Sometimes with the state and local departments, it's going to be a long wait to get that cell phone examined. We can typically do it at our office in about a couple of days, and we'll get that turned around to the local department as soon as we can. We also have a tactical team. It's like a SWAT team that'll come out and do high-risk warrants as well. Am I missing anything? My in-house counsel is here. Rich is there. Okay. Chime in. Okay. So I'm going to give a few case examples. Are there any questions before I move on to that with like the history of the agency or how we're organized? Okay. So these, the next cases I'm going to highlight are a few that I've done. They've all been adjudicated. So if anyone is here that you recognize, entirely coincidental, I'll only use first names, but they're local people. With the exception of one case, they're all out of jail now. So I was looking around earlier to make sure none of them have joined Rotary and become responsible citizens since I've arrested them. But I don't see any familiar faces, so I think we're okay. Otherwise, I'll duck when they start shooting. So, okay. So this is Carl. Carl lived up in Concrete, and this is a financial case I was investigating while working up in our office in Ferndale. And we started noticing an influx, a large amount of currency, hundreds of thousands of dollars being wired to Concrete. And there's no reason that much money should be going to Concrete whatsoever, especially to Carl. The more we dug into it, Carl and a few more of his associates were getting large sums of money. Carl lived, that's an artist rendering of Carl's shack in Concrete. And so long story short, he was running a fraud scheme on the internet where he would contact elderly folks from around the country, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, Texas, essentially telling elderly folks they'd won lotteries and they needed to pay tax on their winnings in order to get the money. So they were wiring him hundreds of thousands of dollars, him and his associates. When I say associates, I mean other meth users in concrete. And they were spending the money on meth. So the money was gone. Carl was there. We arrested Carl. But unfortunately, as a federal agency, we first prosecute, when we want to prosecute a crime, we'll go do a search warrant, we'll arrest Carl, and we sell our case to the United States Attorney's Office in Seattle. So Washington State is divided into two judicial districts. We have Western Washington, which is in Seattle, our courthouse is down there, and the Eastern District, which is in Spokane. So the United States Attorney's Office have contrived thresholds about whether or not they want to take a case. Carl didn't steal enough money to be prosecuted federally, even though it's a federal crime. So fortunately, I'm not just saying this to kiss up to the prosecutor because he's sitting in front of me, but Skagit County took the case, which thankfully Skagit County Prosecutor's Office have been very great partners in taking the cases that the U.S. Attorney's Office will not take. So Skagit County took this case. However, the hiccup was Skagit County could not afford to fly in if it went to trial, could not afford to fly in victims from across the country, house them, feed them. So we were to work a deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office that if it in fact did go to trial, they would indict them federally so we could fly the victims in and have them testify. So long story short, he pled guilty, got 60 months, but Carl's back. I don't know where he's living. I think probably back in a shanty and concrete. So. Okay, this is Eddie. Eddie is actually from Sedro Woolley. Okay, making sure no one's a cousin or anything. Okay, so this is Eddie. He was online uploading child pornography to the internet. Now, when I say child pornography, I'm not talking about a 15, 16-year-old teenager who is like posing nude. I'm talking about babies, toddlers, young kids being raped. Okay, this is really evil stuff. Okay, and he's sharing that on the internet. And we got tipped that he was doing that, and he's in Sedro Woolley. So we began our investigation. Simultaneous to that, an officer I know in Victoria, British Columbia, was online in an undercover capacity chatting with Eddie, and Eddie said he wanted to meet a child to have intercourse with, right? So we got Eddie on two different fronts. Okay. So the officer in Victoria and I started talking, and I took the case over because he's in our jurisdiction. Our office in Ferndale covers Island County, Whatcom County, Skagit County, and San Juan County, and the northern half of Snohomish. So we go and do a warrant at Eddie's house. It's the best warrant I've ever done in my life. We showed up early morning, about 6:30 in the morning. It's dark outside. He has his light on. He's sitting in his recliner, laptop on his belly, committing crime. So we walk in, I grab his laptop, introduce myself. We go out in the car and talk. And online, he referred to himself as the Wolf Master the entire time. All of his emails were the Wolf Master. So I asked him, Eddie, what's the deal with the Wolf Master? And he said, well, I identify as, it's my spirit animal, as the wolf. And I said, are you a Native American in any respect? He goes, no, that's how I identify, as a wolf. So it led me, of course, to the next logical question, because Eddie said the vision came to him in a sweat lodge. I said, Eddie, if you've been in the sweat lodge, because whenever someone talks about a spirit animal, they're always talking about an eagle, wolf, bear. So I said, if you're in the sweat lodge and if it was like a chipmunk or a cat, would you wait longer for a cooler animal to show up and be your spirit animal? So we went down the rabbit hole for a while, and you can see he has a couple of dream catchers tattooed on his chest. So when we do warrants, obviously, we're looking for specific items. So when we're doing child exploitation warrants, we're looking for USB drives, very small items. So we're going through his home. We can find the American flag, of course, pops open. There's a pistol inside. So you never know what we're going to find at these search warrants. The evidence that we found was on the USB drive, unfortunately, hidden in his underwear drawer. We located that. and Eddie is, all intents and purposes, off to jail. However, we take all those images, we put them on our software back at the office, and we start going through them, looking through the evidence. And child exploitation images are typically produced in Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, but a few of these images look like they're produced in the United States. We have American furniture, American clothing, and there's a couple of young females in these images. So we were able to determine, based off the images, the latitude and longitude where they were taken, and they were taken in Bethesda, Maryland. So we cut Eddie a deal. He tells us he was chatting online with a fella out in Maryland, and this person had given Eddie these photographs. So we contact our office in Baltimore. They go out, they do a search warrant, they locate this individual, and he was in fact grooming these young girls to rape them later. And so it was actually a great success story that we had gone through this investigation, located the young children in time, so we were able to be saved and not subjected to that kind of torture. So I think he still got 5 to 7 years with the cooperation, but it's one of our success stories. Okay, this is a success story too. Not great, but it worked out in the end. I'm not going to come up here and say every case is great, every case is successful. I mean, I just went up to Lopez Island a couple months ago to go interview someone who had died 2 months ago. So imagine my chagrin when I knock on the door and no one's home. Then I go up and knock on the neighbor's door, and she looks at me and she says, "You're from Homeland Security?" Like, you know, people think that we have this greatest database in the world that we can tell where everyone's living at all times. She said, "No, he died 2 months ago. What are you? You're an idiot, right? Don't you know this?" No. Well, the ferry leaves in 3 hours, so I guess we'll just hang out. So, but this case was a narcotics trafficking case. I worked here in this local area. This red circle is out north of Mazama in the eastern Washington mountains. And you can see Highway 20 is the yellow line there on the bottom. So that area is synonymous with drug smuggling because we have low law enforcement presence and we have a gluttony of unemployed Canadian pilots. So when drugs cross an international boundary, they typically double in price. So it's a pretty lucrative business. So we have Canadian pilots that'll come south, land in logging areas, like where the yarder used to be, pick up narcotics from smugglers, then flight into Canada where it doubles in price. So we know this obviously, so we have various like game cameras set up along those old logging roads, Forest Service roads, where they all kind of converge down before they hit the main highway. So we noticed something. We noticed 2 trucks that would routinely go up this one road on a consistent basis at about 5 o'clock in the morning. We run the plates. The fella on the bottom drives the white truck. He's from the Dominican Republic. The fella on the top driving the red truck is from Puerto Rico. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, north of Mazama, we have a Puerto Rican guy and a Dominican guy driving trucks. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but it sounds like a clue to me, right? So we initiate the investigation. We found out they're living in the Ferndale area. And we are going to put a tracker on one of the vehicles. Well, it's missing one morning, so we know that they're probably going to go smuggle the next day. So we have our 3 agents from Wenatchee go out and locate them. They're spending the night in a hotel in Winthrop. So we all drive out there and we go up in the woods while they're spending that in the hotel. And we insert maybe it was 7 or 8 guys up in the woods. And we use a pretty advanced law enforcement technique called get there first and wait. So they hid in the bushes for like 7 hours in the cold. When was this? It was in the fall. And so this, it was my case, so I had to coordinate between the radio reception out there was really quite terrible. So we had our aircraft, we work with Customs and Border Protection. They have a few fixed wing aircraft, a few helicopters. So this is an infrared image from our fixed wing aircraft who was circling at about 18,000 feet. And so I'm down the hill a little bit further, but this is an image. You can see the white pickup truck parked there in the clearing, and the rest is trees. You can see the road as it winds down to the bottom of the screen. So the plan was that their helicopter was going to come from Canada, land. They're going to load it up with bags of what was presumably methamphetamine, fly back to Canada. Those guys would take off back down to Ferndale. So it just happened to be the quietest day, the quietest morning that ever happened in the state of Washington, because you could hear that plane circling at 18,000 feet, get on the radio, go a little further south. So they did, but the helicopter had flown in and they got a little nervous. Helicopter flew away back to Canada. And so those guys, went down the road and left. Well, fortunately, of course, we had the aircraft up and we followed them as they're driving through the trees. And this is where the plan goes sideways, because now I have 2/3 of my team stuck in the woods with no ride. So there's about 4 of us left to arrest these 2 guys. One guy goes down the main highway. We traffic stop him. He's arrested. The other fella driving the white truck just stops in the woods. And during the time they're driving down the hill, they just take suitcases and they're throwing them into the woods. And the suitcases are just full of methamphetamine. And so myself and the fellow there in the brown hat go and chase this guy down in the woods. Fortunately, we had the aircraft up, so he was able to kind of walk us into where this guy was hiding. Otherwise, it would be kind of it's not ideal situation. So, the benefit of working narcotics case, you could take all these great shots, of like the stuff you seized. Whereas you work child exploitation cases, you can take a picture of like a USB drive, right, or a computer. It's not as exciting. So he's a little camera shy, but that's our suspect arrested there in front of the tailgate of the truck and the methamphetamine we seized. That's our helicopter. The RCMP, unfortunately, this is my goal, was to seize the helicopter. But unfortunately, RCMP got it instead. He had fake Homeland Security decals. That was bundles of marijuana we seized there at the travel trailer. And that's the complete stack of methamphetamine we'd seized. So all in all, about 602 pounds of methamphetamine. That's it. Some case examples, yeah. All right. All right. Questions? Sure. Mhm. Yes, so I'm actually in the child exploitation human trafficking group, and we have a few agents that do that. And yes, we try to work with the state and locals as much as we can. Like Skidoo, for example, is putting emphasis on the massage parlors in the local area, because a lot of times the employees that work there will be brought over from China. The passports are kept, and they're forced to work. And so right now, for example, we're working with Skidoo on that. Yeah. All right, thanks.
All right, great program, perfect timing. We appreciate you showing up today. And we want to thank our guest, Anna. Thank you for coming today. Thank you, Mom, for bringing Anna today. Justin and Haley, thank you for coming. Any other announcements from the floor before we adjourn? Hearing none. Okay, I had nothing to do with this joke. So if it's funny, it's all Christine. And if it's not, it's all Christine. So what's the difference between a Greyhound bus stop and a lobster with breast implants? One is a crusty bus station and the other is a busty crustacean. Okay. And with that, we should probably all leave.